Greetings, teammates. Chris Anderson here with your May EMI Equipper. For the past few months, we've been talking about spiritual parenting. This concept of investing in another endurance athlete, helping them grow in their relationship to Christ, this discipleship process. And this month, we're going to continue on in that series and wrap up the topic of prayer. For the past few months, we've talked about prayer, and the desire was really to help you grow as a person of prayer and to equip you to help parent somebody in the area of prayer, to help someone else become a more prayer-focused person. And this month, I want to give you just a couple of practical tools that I pray will help you both grow as a person of prayer and, of course, equip you to teach others. And so as I think of prayer and the conversation of prayer, I tend to think of it two ways. The first one is what I might call kind of a casual conversation. These are the small prayer requests that we echo throughout the day. These are the 1 Thessalonians 5's praying without ceasing, just the prayers of the rhythm of life. And these prayers, they tend to be just usually somewhat brief times of prayer, either one-on-one or in some kind of group setting where you kind of lift up a prayer and then you get back to life as you know it. And again, just kind of woven throughout the day. And the fact that they're casual in nature doesn't mean that you're not praying about things that are important or things that really make a difference. And it certainly doesn't mean that you're approaching God with a lack of reverence. It just simply means that they tend to be brief and kind of these quick, more casual type conversations with God. The second kind of prayer is what I might call kind of a deeper heart-to-heart kind of prayer or a strategic war meeting kind of prayer. And in these kinds of prayers, you're really looking to get down to another level with the Lord. You're talking about things that are important enough that you're going to set aside non-distracted time to really dig in. And as you get into deeper conversations, typically you need both time and you need focus. I mean, think about the most meaningful conversations that you've had with other human beings, right? Most of the time you find a place where you can get away, where there's no distractions, you're not going to be interrupted, and you really dig into what's really, really important. And those times of prayer are really, really critical to really express your heart to God and to set aside enough time where you can actually hear back from Him. These deep heart-to-heart prayer times, these a lot of times are the bedrock or the foundation of those casual conversation prayers that you'll have throughout the day. And these prayers are really what your soul's longing for, is you really long to dwell in the presence of the Lord. And so you've got these deeper heart-to-heart kinds of prayers, these strategic war room meetings with the Lord. And of course, both the casual conversation prayers and the deep prayers are both found in Scripture. In fact, one of my favorite Scripture passages involves Jesus with these deeper prayers. In Mark 1:35 it says, "And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he," this is Jesus, "departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed." Jesus was constantly praying, but amongst those casual kind of prayers throughout his day, he felt the need to get alone with God all by himself. He created the space. He created the time and the focused opportunity to really dig in. And certainly if Jesus Christ needed this, how much more so do we? And so today I'm going to talk just a little bit about these deeper, these heart-to-heart, these strategic war room type prayers, and give you just a few pointers that I pray are going to help you engage with the Lord in this way. And so as you think about these deeper prayers, typically two things you need to consider. The first one is focus, and the second one is setting. And so actually I'm going to take them in reverse order. So let's just talk about setting for a minute, if you want to have these deeper heart-to-heart conversations with the Lord. As you think about setting, we're looking at both place and time. And so as we think about place, I want to encourage you to find a place where you can really dig in with the Lord. And in fact, some of you might be wondering why. Usually Chris, when he does these equippers, he's out, and there's a beautiful lake behind him or a nice office setting. Where is he? Well, I am actually in my own basement underneath the stairwell that leads downstairs in what is my prayer closet, in what is my war room, if you will. And this setting is really, really important for me. There's only one thing I do in this room. It's pray. There are absolutely no distractions in this room. It's just me and the Lord. There's no one to impress. There's no one to distract me. And so as I look at setting, I can come down here and I can really be focused on one thing and one thing only. And I'll talk about focus maybe a little bit more here in a minute. So I'd encourage you to find that place where you can really dig in and have no distractions, no interruptions. The second thing regarding these meetings is time. To have a deep conversation requires time. And as I think of that, I would break it into really kind of two things. The first one is to schedule it. If you don't schedule a time to really dig in with the Lord, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen by accident. You'll end up doing those brief, 30-second, 2-minute prayers here and there scattered throughout the day, but you're not going to have those deep, intimate moments where you're really going to dig in. Think about somebody who you'd really like to meet, maybe a celebrity endurance athlete. Maybe I said, hey, tomorrow you can spend an hour with Ryan Hall. Most of you are going to find a time in your schedule, say, yep, I can block off that hour and I'm going to take all 60 minutes of it. And so think about, you have the opportunity to meet with God, the creator of the universe, the redeemer of your soul, and spend time with him. And so schedule that time. The second thing that I would say, and this is going to sound maybe even a little bit legalistic to some, and I apologize, but I know for myself, I have to set up some structure in my life that allows me to make up for my own weaknesses, but sometimes I'll even set a timer. It's like, you know what, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to set a timer and I'm going to pray for 10 minutes or I'm going to pray for 20 minutes or whatever time it takes, because if I don't set that timer, I'm going to rush it. I've got enough pressures in my life with work and ministry and family and distractions where I'll come in and I'll be tempted to zip in and zip out. Where if I say, you know what, no, I'm going to spend 15 minutes in there, then it lets the pressure off where I can just dwell. And if I run out of things to say, great. Then I can actually sit and listen for once. And so think about time. Set apart that time. And then, maybe even consider using a timer to develop the discipline of being still before the Lord. The other thing that's really important when you have these deep heart-to-heart prayers is focus. And I mentioned it earlier. Focus is really, really important. And that's where setting becomes really, really important. I'm a very distracted person when I pray. And so I've got to find a place where I can remove the external distractions, and then if I can remove all the external distractions, all I have to worry about is my internal distractions, and there's enough of those. I know a lot of people say, I'd love to pray outside, and me too. I love to worship the Lord outside, but if I'm out walking on a trail, I might be just getting to the meat of some really good prayer, and then, there's a squirrel. Oh, that's really cool. And then I'm just getting ready to hear from what He's really got to tell me, and, oh man, I'd really like to mountain bike on that path. And so there's a zillion distractions out there. And so set up some place where you can really focus, remove the external things, and then all you have to worry about is the internal distractions. And so for the internal distractions, a couple things that can help you focus. One is to use the gift of writing. And so encourage getting some kind of prayer journal. And you can use a couple of different things. Number one is to have a prayer list. And a prayer list, of course, reminds you of the things that are important to you when you might be distracted. And remind you of the things that you've committed to pray for. The second thing that you can do is actually write out your prayers. It's amazing how when you actually take the time to write, it slows your mind down. It removes distractions and allows you to focus and actually write it out to the Lord and then sign it as a commitment of the prayer. So using the gift of writing. The last thing that can be really helpful when you're looking at focus is have a sheet on the back of it or someplace where you can jot down notes. If you're in the middle of prayer and you realize, oh man, that's right, I've got to drop off the car at the shop or something, jot the note. The note will remember it for you, releasing you so you don't have to remember it. You can get back into praying. And so writing can be something that will really help you focus. Another thing that can really help you focus is speak your prayers. And this is where having a nice quiet place of privacy is really important, because you can just speak out loud without feeling weird about it. But if you actually talk, again, it slows your mind down. It engages your brain a little bit differently, engages your heart a little bit differently. And it's really going to help you focus if you speak. Another thing that can be really helpful is movement. And movement can be really important. I'm as guilty as probably most people watching this of sometimes if I get distracted, especially if I'm tired, I start to doze off. And I'm not proud to admit that, but I can. And if I start feeling sleepy, then get up and walk a little bit, get the blood flowing, or just switch positions, move just a little bit, and that can stimulate you just a little bit and wake you back up. And of course, the last thing that can really help you focus would be actually using Scripture. And we talked about this a few months ago. Pray some of the Psalms, pray some of the prayers that are written in Scripture, and read the Scripture, and read it out loud. Again, speak it. and that's going to help you focus. And so there you have it. Just a few pointers, a few things, a few tools that I pray are going to help you develop as a person of prayer and are going to help equip you to help the person that you're parenting, the person you're discipling, grow as a person of prayer. And if throughout 2016 you grow as a person of prayer, the person you're discipling grows as a person of prayer, I promise you that's going to mean way more than any earthly endurance award you would ever get. And if you can do that, you're going to win at what matters most in 2016. God bless you as you go do that.
All the Christian soldiers marching as you would with the cross of Jesus.